I think we should take another look at that EU video. Let's roll the tape. It's the way they tell them. Whew. Let's get some expert opinion on this from Paul KitKat. He's Chief Creative Officer from the design agency KitKat. No Digitus. It just rolls off the tongue.
Absolutely.
What on earth possessed them to do that?
Madness, I think. The question I was asked was, is it racist? And I think the answer is, it's not racist, it's gibberish. It's a terrible, terrible ad. And I think the... Sorry, you were going to say...
Oh, did it not occur that... I can see you can make too much of the racism aspect, but did it not occur to them that having a sort of, quote, vulnerable white woman surrounded by fierce-looking black and brown men might not be seen as just slightly racist?
Yes, it's remarkable that it didn't. I cannot believe they
Someone not just say, maybe we shouldn't do this?
Yes, you'd think voices of reason would prevail. But the real problem is that it is a kind of classic, what you might call a ta-da ad.
What does that mean?
Well, that means for the first 25 seconds, you have no idea what it's about. And then there's a reveal at the end. Oh, it's about this. Well, what is it about? Any ideas?
Well, I assume it's all trying to make out that the bigger Europe is, the more it's able to cope with its enemies. But that comes back to the point that it depicts our enemies as being fierce-looking black and brown men.
Which is ridiculous, because they're not our enemies. They're our trading partners anyway.
Exactly.
So the whole thing is misconceived. And the next question is, who is it for?
They spent a few bob in this, I would suggest.
Oh, it does look very expensive.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
Our money.
Our money. And it's hard to believe that anyone could justify that, because the audience who would in any way respond to this must be tiny. Yes. I mean, foreign ministers, perhaps?
Who's going to see it anyway?
Well,
they're not running on TV.
Exactly, so the whole thing is pointless.
For me, the most surprising, other than that anybody would even dream of doing this, the most surprising thing for me is that the European Commission, or whatever part of it did this, which is like the most politically correct organisation in the world, didn't see this.
Yeah. Do you remember the no pressure video where the school children exploded at a touch of a button to raise awareness of climate change? This is an epic fail in the same way. It's people so blinded by their ideological cause that they cannot see how crass their product is.
I knew we'd get a Eurosceptic spin on that. It's an open goal for people like James, isn't it?
And anybody, frankly, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and defend that ridiculous ad, and I don't think anybody should. I think it's a classic example of the EU in action, which is always, I always used to feel as a reporter never less pro-European than when I went to Brussels. You know, the closer you are to the machinery in action, the more you think...
Tony Blair felt like that.
The more you think, you know, sweet Jesus, this is not anything you can stand up and defend. The idea at the what we must suppose is the idea at the kernel of it, which is that, you know, we are stronger when we act in concert than when we act alone, and presumably when we act in matters other than people rushing at us with swords, is that, you know, is a defensible concept. In a network world, do you really think if you're a tiny country like, you know, us, for example,
it's a solidarity
we're no longer
commercial.
a ranking military power, you know, our economy is flatlining, all the rest of it, what do we have to say for ourselves? Who cares what we think? You know, that's not a bad argument for the EU to be making. Why now? I mean, now is not a brilliant time to sell people on the idea of greater European enlargement.
Someone had a budget to spend, didn't they?
And they sure spent it.
You need to bid for the next contract.
I think so.
There's money in there.
Yes.
Get your snout in the
I could do
trough.
better than that.
Why not? Everyone else has.
Yes.
Thank you very much.